What is up, my peepholes? This is your guy, Cly, and welcome back to That Thrifting Series. I want to go ahead and apologize for the fact that videos have pretty much converted to once every 2 weeks, and the blame for that rests solely on the prep work that I'm doing for the podcast. Cat is shaking my camera right now, because of course he is. Why is it that when I want him in frame, he just doesn't want to be here? Precocious cat. Anyway, like I was saying, the blame for the change up in schedule rests purely on the fact that I'm prepping for the podcast and things are hectic, to say the least. I've been trying to solve the audio issue. Turns out the PC case swap didn't exactly fix it and all kinds of other things. But I am back and hoping to get weekly videos started again soon. Today I have for you a tech haul, because the PC I built out of thrifted parts just wasn't enough for me. I want to start this one off a little strangely though. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I collect weird things. Okay, that part wasn't secret, but here's one of the weird things I collect. Handheld TVs. I have been obsessed with these since I was a kid, and now that they've pretty much become obsolete, well, okay, they're definitely obsolete, but now that they've become pretty much useless for most people, they're popping up in thrift stores all the time for $5 or less. This is, I believe, a 3-inch or maybe a 2.5-inch, maybe even 3.5-inch. It's been a while since I've checked the specs. But this is an RCA color LCD TV, and it's normally parked right below my 32-inch monitor. This set me back $3. And if you're wondering why I collect these things and what I use them for, I've built a TV transmitter out of an old RF modulator I found while dumpster diving, as well as a signal booster I found while dumpster diving, some coaxial from dumpster diving, and a set of rabbit ears, once again from dumpster diving. So I've basically built myself a free TV transmitter, which gets me a good 30 feet or so of video transmission, and I beam that stuff from my PC to these things, and I can watch Netflix anywhere without having to bust out one of my big TVs. And okay, it's actually kind of useless, but I love being able to do it. It's something I've been doing since before I found a crap ton of televisions while dumpster diving and a crap ton of PCs while dumpster diving. And actually, with this being under my main monitor, I do have plans to hook it up to the Roku that I thrifted a while back, and basically use any of the apps that are not available on console, like the CW Seed and things of that nature. But yeah, that's one of my weirder collections. And actually it all started with this guy right here, a black and white Sony Watchman that I got for $2. There goes the cat. He's about to make noise. So I'm gonna cut to the next item before he does. Alright, so this next item is the GameSir G3W USB game controller. It set me back $3, and normally I wouldn't have bought this, but it has a feature that I just could not ignore. If I bring the cord into shot and give it a tug, it's micro USB. This controller is made specifically to be used with Android devices and not via Bluetooth. I put that as a very important thing because I do have a couple of Bluetooth controllers that I've thrifted, and I'm not the biggest fan of them. They have a slight lag to them, and most of them require additional software and drivers and whatnot. This doesn't. It works with no delays and has no need for third-party drivers. Even better, if I bring my phone over and plug it in, haha, it lights up. And I just think that's kind of cool. Anyway, it was $3, and I'm off to the next item. So this next item, I don't think the people at the thrift store knew anything about what it was. This is a Thermaltake Black Hex, I honestly have no idea. Hard drive dock. It has the ability to take any SATA hard drive, be it a laptop drive or a desktop drive, and turn it into a USB drive. So, got the nice little slit there so that I can plug in a laptop hard drive, a lovely ejecting mechanism, and due to the fact that it's got the door, it can take the big boys. I paid a whopping $3 for this, and if you saw my PC build video, you know I don't really need it for that machine, but this is great for doing quick file transfer between any of my other machines since I have yet to run enough Ethernet cable through my house to make a LAN. I need to start drilling holes in the ceiling and running it there, or maybe down below, I don't know yet. But until then, I have this. Regularly 25 bucks, I paid $3, roughly 90% off, so I'll take it. Anyway, on to the next item. Yay, the fridge finally turned off. If you notice a low hum in any of my videos, it's because I have to record in the game room, which is right next to the kitchen, and I'm trying to fix that for the podcast because it's more of an audio-based format versus video. I'm trying to get it away from anything like fans from my PC or appliances throughout the rest of the house. I've got a room. I just need to finish up the setup. Anyway, the next item I have is this boy. This is a 650 watt True Power Trio from Antec. Originally 150 bucks. Of course, it's actually quite old. However, still in shrink, not much has changed except for efficiency with things like this. So, it's useful. I can use it in one of my builds. If my PC ever kicks the bucket on its PSU, this is ready for it. Best part is, despite still being in shrink, despite having a $150 price tag on it, and not being in my normal thrifting region, which took me to a completely different franchise, it was only $5. That's just, there we go. Now I can see it in the viewfinder. You've probably been able to read it this whole time. I don't know what else to say except I've got this ready for whenever something dies. Even better, it does support NVIDIA cards. It does support SATA. It is actually new enough not to be one of those where I have to use adapters, like in some of my builds. And hey, an airplane. That's probably been picked up. Speaking of PCs, on to the next item. The next item I have is actually a computer. This is the Dell Optiplex 390, and it only cost me $4 for this thing. That's what confused me. Maybe because it's a micro ATX board in here and pretty much a micro PC, they didn't realize what it was. I mean, with the grill on the front, maybe they thought it was a speaker or part of a sound system, because that's what that location charges for, like, subwoofers and whatnot, or at least really crappy looking subwoofers. But no, it is a PC, and because they probably didn't know what it was, they did not dissect it, because it still has the hard drive, it still has the RAM. Heck, maybe they didn't even know how to get to either of those things. It did take me a little bit of jostling to figure out how to reach them myself. But you're probably wondering specs. I don't remember the exact GPU in this thing, but it came by default with a 250 gigabyte SATA hard drive, 7200 RPM, as well as 2 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM and a 3.3 gigahertz i3 processor. Sadly, it only came with 2 gigs of RAM and only has 2 gigs, or not 2 gigs, but 2 RAM slots. It's DDR3. I did have a few sticks of 2 gigabyte DDR3 laying around, though sadly they are corrupted. Well, 2 of the 3 are corrupted. They're from an old desktop build. I made the mistake of buying a bare bones PC on eBay and asking them to send me the RAM, and they sent me the crappiest RAM that they could get from cheap online, and yeah, that didn't end well. Things are better now. I am much better with building and maintaining my own units than I was so many years ago. But fortunately, one of those sticks does actually function well enough to be used in this machine, and I have run it through some rigorous tests without it shutting down. So maybe, just maybe, one of the 3 sticks I had wasn't bad, due to the fact that one of the sticks did indeed fail when I first built the computer. I sent it back because it was in warranty to the person who built the PC, and they sent me back the old stick and a new stick. So thinking I got the new stick in here. Yay. All of those anecdotes aside, I'm gonna figure out something to do with this little guy. Even if I do nothing more than harvest the hard drive and the RAM, I'm getting more than my money's worth out of it, because just the 2 GB stick of RAM that it came with is about 20 or so bucks currently at Micro Center or other online retailers. And the hard drive's no slouch either at $4. I've got one more item left, and to be honest, it is one of the most unbelievable items I have had, period, in my thrifting career. I've had some surprising items, but I've been watching trends at thrift stores enough to know that this should not have happened. On to the next item. So the last item I have for you today is this. This is a very special pack of RAM, because I found it sitting in the case at a little no-name resale shop, the kind that I honestly tend to avoid due to how gougy their pricing is. I mean, they will charge $15 for an open copy of Seen It that I can pick up at Goodwill for $2 and probably find in the same condition online for $5. That's the level of gouge we're talking here. And it's RAM. This is something that tends to be priced up everywhere. I've seen in the case of Goodwill, 1 GB of RAM going from $4 to $10, and in little no-name resale shops, about 20 bucks for 512 megabytes. It's a little crazy when it comes to RAM. So imagine my surprise when I found 2 8 GB DDR3 RAM sticks for 12 bucks. 16 gigs of RAM for $12. They knew how much memory was in here, and they even said it's Mac compatible, which admittedly it is, but it is not specifically for Mac. I know because I've been using it in my laptop, and it's Windows. So let's just go ahead and bring it up. Yeah, this is a lot of RAM. My cat is trying to get into a paper bag through the handle. He is special and in the background, but this is my best take yet, so I'm not cutting. So, I actually went online to price this. If I wanted to get it online, it would be about $120 to $140. If I wanted to get it in store at Micro Center, it would be $135 thanks to a sale that's going on right now. $12. Even better is the fact that despite the fact that the box had been opened when I found it, the RAM had never actually been removed from the inner case, so it was essentially factory new, and it works wonderfully. And if you're wondering what speed it is 1600 megahertz, I believe is the proper way to phrase it. It's 1600 DDR3, 8 gigabytes a stick, and there's actually been a price surge in DDR3, so even better. But yeah, they knew that it was 8 gigabytes. They knew it was DDR. Oh, they might have thought it was just DDR. That might have contributed to the fact that they only wanted 12 bucks, even though DDR does not exist in 8 gigabyte format. I'm not going to tell them. And one more caveat, it was not an out-of-touch elderly person working there that day. It was a 20-something-year-old guy working the counter. Of course, that doesn't mean he is tech-savvy. It just means it was not an old out-of-touch person, probably just a young out-of-touch person who priced the RAM. Anyway, I'm going to go reinstall this on my laptop and get back to work with that. I have nothing else to share with you. The cat is now going crazy on one of his toys. He has been a handful today, to say the least. We'll see if that pops up in the podcast. In an audio format, you'll probably hear things getting knocked down all over the place. I think I've also had too much caffeine. On that note, until next time, this is your guy Cly, signing off.